Welcome to Real Talk for Real Teachers. I'm Dr. Becky Bailey, the creator of Conscious Discipline. I'm an expert in education, child development, and a lifelong teacher and learner. For those listening who are not aware of Conscious Discipline, it is a comprehensive, brain-based, trauma-informed, social emotional learning program. Uniquely, we combine and integrate school climate, classroom management, and self-regulation into one seamless system. Today is a phenomenal experience I had when I had the opportunity to interview 3 educators from Grove Hill Elementary in Alabama. They experienced a devastating loss of a death of a child in their school family. Join me as we learn about the legacy a 4-year-old child named Keith left on the hearts and souls of a school and a community. Welcome, everyone. I'm here with some friends from Grove Hill Elementary from Alabama. And this is Julie, Kathy, and Miranda. So tell me what you do, Julie.
I'm a pre-K teacher at Grove Hill Elementary.
Yeah? No. For how long?
Pre-K, I've been there 17 years, and I taught kindergarten for 8 of those years.
Wonderful.
And then the rest I've been in pre-K.
Yeah. And
I'm Kathy. I'm the principal at Grove Hill Elementary.
And how long have you been principal?
I've been principal since 2004.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
Good for you.
Just completed 31 years of service.
Wow. Good for you. Thank you, too, for all that. And Miranda?
And I taught 6th grade for 5 years, and then I've been in pre-K for 2.
How was that shift to go from...
It was very scary in the beginning, but it's just right where I need to be.
Perfect.
It's perfect.
I had a friend who made that big shift from 5th to pre-K, and the first week she goes, they're always touching me. You know, it's like, get off me. But then she got used to it.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
So, how did y'all get introduced to Conscious Discipline? Kathy, maybe you. How did it come to your awareness?
The ladies attended our statewide pre-K conference. After their first year, they went to a workshop and heard Joy from Alabama.
All right.
And
yeah, I know Joy.
It was just an immediate spark. They came back to me, you've got to go. You've got to go. And then there was training for administrators and the next phase of training for them. And so the assistant principal and myself attended along with these ladies, and it's been like fire ever since.
So something in there resonated with you. So what was
what
it?
What every good principal does. I do what my teachers tell me.
There you go. But I saw your eyes go up. So something resonated with you, Miranda.
During that session about conscious discipline, at the time I was having some really big challenges with my own child, and it just spoke directly to me about my Sadie Margaret. And I just heard, it was just a quick overview, but I knew that I needed more information so that I could help her. And then in return, of course, my precious K4 babies.
You bet. You bet. So now we're here for to talk about something that was very devastating for you as a school, but it's not just you as a school, it's every school. Certainly with what just happens in life, and certainly with all our tornadoes and our fires and our hurricanes and shootings and such, that the topic of this deep, devastating loss. So who's going to start with what exactly has happened? Julie?
We began the year, we had a precious little group join us in August, and one of our little guys was there for 2 days, and he started on Monday, skipped Tuesday, came back on Wednesday for a half a day, so not even really 2 full days, and on Thursday he was diagnosed with leukemia. That was our first this year of, and actually my first in teaching of something catastrophic within my classroom. So we began that journey with him and his family, and we immediately connected with his family. and let them know that he was part of us. Even though he only joined us for that day and a half, he was part of our school family. And from day one, we put him on our wish well board, and we began the connection with our students and with him and his family. And we kept in contact. We would get updates from his family, from them, and he came to visit our school several times. He only got to interact with the kids from a distance and wave, but the kids knew him. They remembered very specific things about him.
And that goes to, I'm so thankful that on the very first day of school, we took their pictures. And so for the Wishwell board, we had their picture. So we would put him on our heart. I mean, he just stayed on our heart. And we wished him well each day. And I just feel like that had a huge role in connecting
The two, yes.
the two. And
Well, it was to both of us our instrument of how we taught love and empathy and kindness to the rest of the children in our classroom was through Keith.
Right.
Because of the actions that we did with his family, with, how we, gave them updates of him, just throughout the things that
and how we implemented that, because we always had somebody on our heart on the wish well. So each day we could wish him well. So we would video us wishing him well. And of course, his journey with leukemia, he had ups and downs. And that just spoke to the family that we took the time to video and send it to them. And they brought other pictures, I think it was some kind of card, like a thank you card, and we put it where the kids could see it, and they would go up and just look at it. And even his family felt that we just worked so hard to make sure he was still a part of us.
And the dad or the granddad came to school personally.
He would just drop in from time to time. The kid only was there for a day and a half.
But he came in person. He passed away in December, and we got a message on a Sunday that he had passed away, and he was there that Monday morning in person to tell us personally.
Wow. You think about, certainly, wonderful teaching is always having a teachable moment. There's always these teachable moments. You think of pre-K as the fire truck went by or whatever the case may be. But I don't think many people think of such a child having leukemia as how beautiful of a teachable moment of all the life skills that one would ever need. That is so, and I can see it in your face. It's still hard. But I want to know about when you first went to the family. I can't imagine that family. I mean, I think of a school that would take its time out, and its teachers would come when my child would be sick and only be there for a day and a half, and you called on me. Did you actually go to the home? I mean, whose child was he in whose class?
Well, we co-teach together.
You co-teach, so it was in both your classes. So did you go to the house? I mean,
We did.
We did.
and you too, the principal of the school, and the assistant principal.
So we did send out a text message to all the parents of our kids to let them know the night that he passed, to let the parents know, so, to give them a chance to talk to their children, because the next day when it came Wishwell time, we knew that it would be an emotional time for the two of us. So we got to that moment, and there were big emotions for the two of us, and we knew we had to acknowledge it. Therefore, that moment, we changed Keith, just his picture on our Wishwell, to Keith's family. Mm-hmm. So from that point on, we still wish Keith's family well each and every day to the very end of school. So the next few days, we still had questions from some of the children, but we made a We Remember book.
Right.
We remember Keith. and the kid was only there for a day and a half. And the kids drew pictures.
Yeah, each student had a page in the book, so when we presented the book to the family, that's why we went to the home.
Oh, okay.
Was to present the book. And of course, and it did become part of his funeral service. The book did. But every student had a page to illustrate their thoughts. And as we were looking, I was standing beside the grandmother, and we were looking through, and she said something about, I see a lot of hearts. And it was really different because there may be a little heart, a stick person with a little heart, or there may be a big heart in the clouds, or there may just be a heart in some preschool fashion.
Right.
And I said, that's where wish you well comes from. You put your hand on your heart, and we wished him well. And then I think that she looked at the granddad, and they acknowledged the video.
Yes.
So they were making those connections. But that was like the biggest treasure for them.
I can imagine.
Made that book.
Now, did this radiate past pre-K? Did any other grades, or was it really a kind of a pre-K endeavor? I mean, did other children in the school get involved in this at all, or was it really just your school family?
The school knew, because we're such a small community.
Right.
We're such a small community. The family is, from the area, so everybody knew about it. We did not do anything school-wide other than
It was more faculty.
more faculty. We did it,
we did it more within the faculty.
Got it.
Which a lot of faculty sent us messages
Right.
because they would put themselves in our shoes of having a child. Some had not experienced that, some had, so then they offered, words of encouragement for us.
So the school itself kind of wrapped you two, and then you wrapped their family, and you went through this process together. That's amazing. I think that some people would say, oh yeah, when you just said we're a small community. Oh, of course they're a small community. But I don't think, you have to be a small community to have a big heart. You could be in any community and take these same steps, regardless of you had 2,000 students in all your elementary schools. You could still take these same steps.
We ended our year with, of course, they have a little end of the year celebration with preschool, and it was outside. We had a brand new playground dedication, so we had lots of things to celebrate that day. And we invited his family back for that celebration because he still continued to be part of the class. And we planted a tree in his memory. And then the tree has a sign, and I'm not even sure what
it has his name, and it says, Keith taught us to love and care for others.
So that's what his sign says. And it's
Because through
outside.
him we taught the wish well and the purpose of it.
We taught love, we taught kindness, we taught empathy for others. We taught so many things through
Keith.
because of the conversations and the questions that he would ask us.
Awful
and we
situation.
took that
So much, yeah.
Came out of it. It's amazing that a 4-year-old left such a tremendous legacy on the lives of so many so early, when it really makes a difference. They may not hold all this in their heads, but they have embedded it in their brain and their heart for the rest of their lives. So I think the amazing thing I keep hearing here is how you took such a devastating event for a family and for a classroom and for a teacher and made it or created from it such usable lessons that you could teach a whole class. I think that's the pinnacle of a brilliant teacher in my mind. And yeah, you got the yay from. So now that Keith is gone, and the family is probably still always be connected deeply to Grove Hill, and Keith too. As you move forward, you're not going to have that opportunity at the beginning of next year, so to speak. But how did that change you as a teacher so that it impact you to help the kids next year and the year after and year after? What were the big lessons that you learned from that?
I would just say to look back over the year and see what we learned through that and how it's changed me as a teacher. I've always been a connected teacher, but I'm deeper connected. I'm just showing and teaching, using those teachable moments for deeper things, because we do get so caught up in teaching and, oh, well, I've got to get this done and I've got to get this done, and that those moments are the lasting. Those are the ones that last a lifetime,
right?
Not the daily, and
I feel that, we may not be faced with something so tragic as Keith, but it's brought my attention to, I don't want to say the small things, but, if a kid, I keep going back to the wish well and making that connection. Maybe their dog is at the vet,
right,
and they want to put their dog on the wish well, and really acknowledging that, and of course the deeper, I would agree with Julie on what she said.
Making deeper connections and stuff. And what about you as an overall principal? So you were involved and also the observer.
Right.
You watched and observed two of your teachers in this journey and the family. I mean,
Right.
but you were also involved, but you also had a little more of a distance to watch it. So what did you garner from this as a principal? Anything?
Amazing. I mean, just the amazement of the two of these pulling together. They came to me the morning after, and because we are the kind of family at our school, we have to have a plan. Mm-hmm. Anything good, we have to have a plan. Anything bad, we have to have a plan. And they came, what can be our game plan? Well, what are you thinking? And it was just perfect. I of course trusted whatever they was going to do. Trust of what they do in the classroom, watching it from day to day. We've had several, throughout the year, we would have several different kinds of loss. It might be the loss of an employee's dad,
right,
or an employee's mom, or just a very stressful day. And these two ladies would come and say, I think we need to do something school-wide. Or they would say, this would be a good time to breathe. So I may get on the intercom or the announcements and say, boys and girls, let's take a deep breath, and to calm ourselves at an assembly. So I've enjoyed watching. I've gleaned so much information just watching the two of them, and even gone to their classroom. What do you do? How do you say it? Watching them in the hallway, I've picked up things that I can transition or transfer to when I'm dismissing in the afternoons.
Right.
So, but just watching how they handled the loss, and then when something else tragic happened in our school, they were the first two to lead us through it. They would go to that person on a personal level,
yes,
not necessarily with their class, but they would go and help, and it's just been a mind shift. Right. After 31 years, a mind shift of the way we think about things, and it's very, very powerful in my profession, and the importance of doing it right.
And if you just look, I don't think personally that we have done enough to acknowledge all the losses that children
right.
are impacted by these days. The number of divorce. Certainly the loss of parents or dogs and cats. We kind of acknowledge that, but just that daily loss, the loss of just losing your parents for that day. That saying goodbye in the morning. We kind of say, okay, good for you, get over it. I think I can see in all your eyes that there is a deeper quality of recognizing and acknowledging those losses, and the power of acknowledging those losses. And I think that is the message of Keith. And as we talked about, I think yesterday, if we don't acknowledge that loss, it turns into anger. And if we don't acknowledge that anger, it turns into rage. If we don't acknowledge that rage and handle that rage, it turns into revenge. And we just go around a cycle that doesn't promote well-being. So you guys have demonstrated that it's not only been in the school, but you've been able to use conscious discipline in your lives, and you've seen a difference. So now what's the goal for the school, Kathy, going forward?
Currently, because of these two ladies and the interest of my faculty, they've been watching, and they are wanting more information. So we've been giving them the bits and pieces as we've learned them, but we've created a CDAT team. And we're starting the e-learning courses throughout the school year next year. That's going to be our implementation, and we look forward to hopefully transitioning our school into being a conscious discipline school. So.
Beautiful, and thanks to all of you, and certainly thanks to Keith. He played a big role in this huge transformation that all of you are going through. So thank you for sharing that, and I just want to remind those who are listening that the acknowledgement of loss, whether you perceive it to be small or devastating, as they explained, needs to be acknowledged, and we don't have to be therapists, but we can just be wise teachers that say we can put you on a wish well board. So thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. Wow, what an inspirational story about using tragedy as a powerful teaching tool about life, love, loss, kindness, empathy, and compassion. Just have to take a breath with that one. So what's Becky up to? Well, thanks to Keith, his legacy continues. I'm celebrating my determination to get back on track with my mind, heart, and body. It's been a very, very busy summer, and I sadly have put my own physical and mental health at the bottom of my to-do list. So I'm pulling it back up, putting myself back up at the top, and getting back into some exercise, meditation, and all that I know helps me be the best me I can be. So I'm celebrating myself and also forgiving myself at the same time. So following up on that celebration, what are we collectively celebrating? Well, we're celebrating our research on our Conscious Discipline Parent Program was just published in the Journal of Research in Innovation, Teaching, and Learning and shared on the districtadministration.com site on the web. Also, we have a number of videos put out by Edutopia sharing the success of conscious discipline. So word's getting out, and we are grateful, deeply grateful, and certainly celebrating all those who work their selves to death, making that mindset shift, making that skill set shift, and all the successes they got in return. So let's take a moment here at the end. And if you would, and if you feel like it, join me so that we wish well all the losses we've all experienced. So if you choose, just take a deep breath with me. Put your attention or your hand on your heart and imagine love flowing through you to all those needing to know that they are not alone, just not alone in that deep grief. And until next time, it is my pleasure to wish you and myself well.
For more episodes of Real Talk with Real Teachers by Dr. Becky Bailey, visit consciousdiscipline.com/podcasts. You can also subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app.